These were the same comments. You guys, you can't make this stuff up. These were the same comments, same emails and statements that were given to all the committee. There's nothing groundbreaking about this. The Oversight Committee says themselves, why did the Democrats cover up the name when the estate didn't redact it in the redacted documents that were given to this committee? It's because the victim, Virginia Giuffre, publicly said that she never witnessed wrongdoing by President Trump. Democrats are trying to create a fake narrative to slander President Trump. Shame on them. By the way, stick around. Woo! Quite frankly, this will be the biggest news you hear today. Right? We always give you the best. I always tell it to you straight up, which is why me and Melania, we watch Professor Nez every night before we go to bed. We tuck in Baron, right? We have our little coffee, a little tea, and I watch the greatest mind out there today. That's Professor Nez. We got a huge announcement. Huge. It's huge. Stick around. I'm going to tell you what that is. Huge. It's absolutely huge. You have to stick around, though. I have proof, folks. I have absolute proof that this is Virginia Giuffre. So I'm going to share with you the actual transcript. This is the actual transcript from the interview with Virginia Giuffre, which just proves everything that this is all. And here's what I want to say really quickly before I go through this transcript. Here's what I want to say, because I know some of you might be saying, like, why does President Trump keep calling it a hoax? Why is he? First of all, you don't need President Trump to deny or confirm. You don't need anything other than an actual human brain that can see common sense. Literally. Let's look at this practically, please. Before I go through this transcript, let's look at this practically. Forget about what Trump says, hoax. He's too busy trying to fix the damn country, y'all. The guy has brokered what? 12 peace deals in the last 2-3 months. He's traveled, literally spanned the globe. Okay. Record-breaking tariffs, reorienting our ethos, our credibility across the entire spectrum on the global stage. Meeting after meeting after meeting with leader, prime minister, fixing, ending conflicts, fixing everything that these damn Democrats, the Biden and Kamala regime, have done to decay our beautiful country. I mean, the guy's busy. Forget about hoax. And I know exactly what he's referring to. He's referring to the hoax that the Democrats keep trying to perpetuate and include him. He's not saying anything about the victims. He knows the victims. It's an atrocious thing what Epstein did. This guy is a known pedo. He knows. That's why he got rid of him. That's why he disavowed him years ago, decades ago. He knows he's a freak and he's never been to the island. But you know who has been to the island multiple times? And you know who tried to cover up a story of releasing Virginia Giuffre's testimony? That's why he's on the thumbnail. Okay. That's why I put him on the thumbnail. Who's that on the thumbnail? Somebody tell me down below. Hold on. Let me move the comments. Who's that on the thumbnail? Who's that on the thumbnail right there? Can anybody tell me in the comments? I'll give you a shout out. The first person who says it, I'll give you a shout out. Who's on the thumbnail there? You want to know who tried to? There he is. Okay, Alex Slavinsky 42069. I see Bill Clinton and Obama were on the emails. Howie, it's good to see you. Howie, says Bill Clinton. Yes. Tom Shuffleton says Bill Clinton. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Wait till you see what I am going to share with you that should have been all over the media, but it's not. Okay. It should be all over, talked about all over, but it's not. Never mind the hoax. Never mind him calling it a hoax. He's calling what they're doing a hoax. He's not saying that the whole Epstein thing is a hoax. He knows there was absolute evil conducted by this nefarious, sadistic human being. He knows that. He knows there's victims. Okay. Three things. Let's think about this practically. Three things. Number one, the DOJ, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel said they've released everything that they can. Okay. I know that they botched it and it wasn't a beautifully conducted execution of that conveyance, messaging. It was all garbage. And I think there was even a rift between Bongino, perhaps, and Pam Bondi, et cetera, et cetera. Number two, Trump has said, I told Pam Bondi, release everything that you can. I don't care. Release everything because he knows he didn't do anything wrong. And three, which is probably the most important, these guys did everything they could to stop President Trump. In 2024, they did everything they could to end any possibility. For going all the way back to 2023, raiding his house, raiding a former president of the United States of America, which was totally debunked. Jack the Ripper Smith totally faked the whole thing. Those were fake classified documents. It was all one big sham, one big lie. To indicting him, to debanking him, Letitia James, Alvin Do Nothing Bragg, Judge Gargamel, Judge Fake Don Juan Merchan, Fannie Cash Money G. Willis, Kamala, there's been so many cases, Stormy Daniels, you name it. There's been the falsified. They did everything. And then when that didn't work, they tried to assassinate him. And you mean to tell me if you had this card in the bank that you weren't going to use it if you had something on him? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a shortcut to thinking. That, ladies and gentlemen, assumes, like they always do. It's the same thing when the Democrats were saying, well, they have control over the House, and they have control over the Senate, and they have control of the executive branch. It's their shutdown. Thinking we're idiots. The Democrats literally think we're dumb, think we're stupid. They think you're stupid. They think you're an idiot. They know you need 60 votes from the Senate, but they think we're stupid. They know that we know that they've gone after him with everything and the kitchen sink they've thrown at him. And you're going to hold on to this card right here? Are you out of your mind? We're supposed to believe that? Well, they should have released it. You had 12 of the last 16 years. More importantly, the last 4 years. So if you think about that practically, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, how in the world can we take their word for anything? Here's Virginia Guffrey. Jeffrey Epstein's presence with another. Nope. Question. What is I know it's a little bit blurry. Okay. I'm going to read it. What is the basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey's? Virginia Guffrey answers. Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you never observed them together. Answer. No, not that I can actually remember. Not off the top of my head. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? Was the question posed to Virginia Guffrey. Answer, he didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey's home? Answer, not that I can remember. How about on his island? Answer, not that I can remember. In New Mexico? Answer, no, not that I can remember. How about in New York? Not that I can remember. This is Virginia Guffrey. They unalived her very recently, claiming it was suicide. She did not commit S. I can't say the word because they're going to take down the video. So this is complete fake narrative by the Democrats. There's nothing here. It's complete bupkis. It's a complete S show. They're not doing their job. They shut down the government. They fight law enforcement officials who are simply carrying out their orders. They do nothing but hate America. They support terrorists. They support jihadists. They support communists. They support men and women's sports. They support men and women's bathrooms. Our daughters, our mothers, our wives, our grandmothers have to deal with this. I just posted a video, for crying out loud, This poor Tish Hyman tried to plead with Scott Wiener, smug Scott Wiener. If you missed that video, it's all there. If you missed that video, I go over everything. It's living proof who the Democrats are, who they really are. A black lesbian woman gets shunned and booed by Scott Wiener and a room full of Democrats. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So this is completely meaningless. This completely has nothing to do with anything. And I'm going to play for you a couple of clips because Caroline Leavitt just did a press conference, and she responded to this. And then I'm going to talk to you about the huge bombshell breakthrough and then how this relates to Bill Clinton. And I think Caroline Leavitt deserves the floor here because I think she completely says it the way that it should be said, and she properly conveys this. So here's what I'm going to do right now is listen to Caroline Leavitt talk about this. Listen up right here. She talks about this, which is pretty much the same thing that we talked about.
This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any. And it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This has been
God, I love her. God, I love her. If you love Caroline Leavitt, by the way, her staff, and she does watch this show, let her know in the comments. Let her know in the comments down below because she'll see it. She will see it. Here's another quick clip of her talking about this real quick. Check this out.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
God, I love her. She's fantastic. She's absolutely fantastic. And speaking of that, in 2024, this is a story that literally she mentioned nobody cared about this story, and she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. This is a story that got literally no coverage. Literally no coverage whatsoever. I'm going to play this for you. This was a report in 2024. CNN said that according to a 2011 email written by Virginia Giuffre, Bill Clinton, former president, Bill Clinton had stopped Vanity Fair, the magazine, the publication, from writing an trafficking article on Epstein. I can't say it out loud, but basically yes. Exactly zero, folks. Exactly zero politicians cared about this story last year, and zero Democrats care about this now. They don't care about the victims. They only care about one thing and one thing only: political power. In the video that I posted yesterday about that poor black lesbian woman who was shunned, who was lambasted, who was booed, harangued, harassed by a room full of white liberals, and Scott Wiener, who smugly sat there, I shared some clips of lifelong Democrats, Cheryl Hines, Bill Maher, talking about their personal experiences with Trump, who he is behind closed doors. Those are the kind of stories that resonate. Those are the kind of stories and the people who tell you where his true heart lies and give you such a window peek. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen that video, I posted it yesterday on Veterans Day. God bless all veterans. If you love our American veterans who are heroes, let them know in the comments down below. If you're a veteran, I love you. You're the only reason this nation, this beautiful union exists. God bless you. My heart and support is eternally yours. Eternally. I love you guys. Check out this clip right here of this Virginia Giuffre email that Bill Clinton did everything in his power to stop from getting published. Watch this.
New details this morning. Hundreds of new pages have been unsealed in a lawsuit connected to convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The victim alleges that former President Clinton pressured Vanity Fair not to run a story on Epstein. The pages also shed new light on how Epstein's victims were recruited and what happened to them. CNN's Gene Cesaris joins us now. And Gene, we're talking about 900 pages here, so there's a lot to go through. What new details have come out?
Well, they came out last night combing through them. And, this all stems from a 2015 civil suit brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. And Virginia Giuffre had wanted her story to come out. She wanted a book. And so she became very close with a reporter out of Britain. And this reporter was encouraging her to go to the Vanity Fair magazine to have them do an article on it. And here is what, in a newly undisclosed email from 2011, here's what Virginia Giuffre says. She says, considering that B. Clinton walked into VF, Vanity Fair, and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about his good friend, J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, so she didn't want to do it.
Yep. That's it, folks. That's it. That's the truth of this whole email breakthrough that's, the Democrats are claiming as a huge gotcha moment. These Democrats are so desperate, ladies and gentlemen. They're so desperate to pivot from their shutdown humiliation that they're recycling old Epstein news. Period. Point blank. The victim in the email, which Democrats redacted in an attempt to create controversy because they're masters of manipulating narratives. That's why we have 48 to 49% of our country that has literal, incurable TDS. When you go to Thanksgiving this weekend, this holiday season or Christmas, you're going to probably meet a lot of them, I'm sure, because I've got even family who are staunch liberals and they have TDS. They redacted Virginia Giuffre's name, who already testified in a 2016 deposition that Trump never participated in anything and that she never witnessed him being inappropriate. The email also confirms what was already known, guys. Trump told Ghislaine Maxwell to stop trying to recruit Mar-a-Lago employees and kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of the club. That's all the emails illuminate. Period. Point blank. If you're just joining us right now, rewind and replay. I went through every email that these so-called Democrats released. That's it. So I say this again, and I say this with vehemence, and I say this with every fraction and fiber of my soul. We finally have an America First president and administration. And the immeasurable good that he is doing, the healing that he is doing, getting rid of all of these illegal criminals, closing the border, bringing back common sense, policy, legislation, reorienting the global trade, ending conflict, showing peace through strength, signing executive orders that are common sense, voter ID, getting men out of women's sports, keeping men out of women's locker rooms, like what happened to Tish Hyman in the video I produced yesterday. Common sense things. There is not one good reason. There's not one good reason alive, folks, that anybody would be opposed to voter ID during election. Give me one good reason. Give me one good reason. There's not one good reason. You need an ID to check into a hotel, for Christ's sakes. You need an ID to board a plane. You need an ID to get a drink. You need an ID for literally everything. I need to submit my ID when I want to buy something on Amazon, for crying out loud, to prove that it's me. You mean to tell me the most sacred liberty, the most consequential action a citizen of a sovereign nation can take, which is vote, which has unknown, innumerable implications to billions of people? You mean to tell me that's not important enough to require an ID? And what in the world is stopping anybody from getting an ID? It makes no sense, because it's BS, because everybody should be required. It should be same day. It should be in person. It should be a national holiday. Give me a yeah in the comments if you agree. I want to give a huge shout out to Chuck Kreiner, veteran who's holding down the fort on Rumble. Huge shout out to our greatest mods of all time, Jim Barron. I love you, brother. Laura Tilford, the OGs. Love you guys so much. Thank you for gifting new memberships. You guys are the absolute best. If you haven't already, please tap that thumbs up if you love America. Now, these hippocrats, aka Democrats, I call them hippocrats because here's my phrase. Ready? I've coined it. I'm going to trademark it. When a tree breathes, oxygen is released. When a Democrat breathes, raw sewage, pollution of lies affect and afflict the atmosphere. I need to refine that a little bit. But you get the gist, right? So they say they're going to release more. They say they're going to release more. But if this is any indication what they released so far, which is, of course, the whole woke media is going nuts. Instead of celebrating our wins, instead of celebrating American patriotism, instead of celebrating our 250-year celebration, our military, they actually booed our military at that Washington Commanders football game. The NFL should be ashamed of themselves. Those fans should be ashamed of themselves. Instead of celebrating our wins, the entire woke apparatus, the entire left media, which is all of them, CBS, ABC, CNN, you name it, they're now making this the story of the day, which is nothing. It's a gigantic nothing burger. So, in order to make common sense go viral, what I need you all to do right now, this is what I need you all to do. I need you to share this. I need you to tap the thumbs up if you love America. It doesn't cost you a thing. It literally takes you 2 nanoseconds. Share this with everybody you know. Help us make common sense go viral. We might just be able to cure TDS by illuminating the truth. Period. Point blank. I love every one of you. God bless and keep you always. Check out the videos coming up on the screen right there. Subscribe, follow. It's absolutely free.